If I wanted to predict your bank balance 5 years from now with mathematical precision, or the quality of your mental health, I wouldn't ask to see your CV, nor your reading list. I would ask for just one thing: 5 minutes alone in your bathroom. Does that sound absurd? Offensive to your intellect? That is exactly why you are stuck. You have been conditioned to believe that success is a complex construction made of grand strategies, networking, and degrees. But Eastern wisdom, specifically the Zen tradition, teaches us a truth that your ego hates. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Right now, the room where you begin and end your day is the biggest snitch on your inconsistency. There is a Japanese concept called ba-no-kuki, which translates to the atmosphere of the place. This isn't cheap mysticism, it is the immediate reading your nervous system takes of an environment. When you walk into your bathroom and the first thing you encounter is a dim light, a towel thrown carelessly, or that faucet that has been dripping for weeks, which you ignore, you aren't just seeing a mess. You are training your brain to tolerate mediocrity. Neuroscience calls this environmental priming. Your environment is a code. If the space where you handle your hygiene, the most basic act of self-respect, is chaotic, dark, or dysfunctional, you are sending a continuous signal of devaluation to your subconscious. You, who think yourself so intelligent and full of potential, are living in a stage designed for failure. The problem is the disconnect. You study Stoicism, you read about high performance, but you live in entropy. You want the discipline of a samurai, but you maintain the habitat of a slacker. This cognitive dissonance drains your vital energy, your ki. That leak in the faucet isn't just water. It is your integrity escaping down the drain. Every time you see the problem and don't act, you break a micro-contract with yourself. And he who cannot keep his word in small things will never have the moral structure to sustain great wealth. You feel it, don't you? That sensation of always running behind, of mental weight, of open tabs in your brain. You blame work, you blame time, but the root may lie in your inability to honor your own sanctuary. In the East, the bathroom isn't a place of waste. It is a place of misogi purification. It should be the temple where you wash not just the body, but the spirit, preparing for the day's battle. But instead, you have turned it into a warehouse of haste and neglect. The Kokoro channel is not about empty motivation. It is about restructuring the architecture of your mind, starting with the floor you stand on. If you are tired of being a giant in theory and a child in execution, this is your place. Subscribing here is the first step to stop ignoring reality and start dominating it. Because if you cannot govern 4 square meters of tile, how dare you wish to govern your destiny? The question remains, why does an individual as capable as you allow chaos to settle in the most intimate place of the home? The answer isn't laziness. It is a fundamental error in how your brain processes the value of invisible things. And that is what we will dissect now. Let's deepen the wound. The reason you keep your environment in a state of siege isn't because you are lazy. Your brain is a biological machine designed for efficiency, and it hates spending energy on something that doesn't bring an immediate dopamine reward. Tidying the house, changing the light bulb, or cleaning the mirror doesn't give you likes. It doesn't give you immediate cash, and no one applauds. So, your intellect rationalizes, this is trivial. I have more important things to think about. Here lies the trap. This rationalization is the hidden context of your failure. Remember the old superstition about not whistling or singing in the bathroom to avoid attracting spirits. Let's translate that with the coldness of modern psychology. What are you actually doing when you fill your shower with noise, music, or podcasts on 2x speed? You are running away from silence. In Japanese philosophy, there is the concept of ma, the empty space, the necessary pause. The silence of the bath should be your moment of ma, where the mind processes, rests, and organizes data. But you are terrified of this silence. Why? Because in silence, the voice of conscience speaks loudly. In silence, you remember who you should be and who you are not. The spirits you fear aren't ghosts. They are your own insecurities and repressed truths surfacing when the noise stops. By denying silence in your sanctuary, you deny clarity. You live dazed, and a dazed mind does not build empires. And what about the leaks? That dripping faucet or the toilet running, which the myth said drains fortune. Neuroscience explains this through the Zeigarnik effect. Our brain has a compulsive need to close loops. Every drop that falls and is ignored is an open tab in your mental processor. You think you ignored the problem, but your limbic system is on constant alert, whispering, "Something is wrong. Something needs repair." This generates background noise, a subtle anxiety that consumes your cerebral glucose. You sit down to work on your grand project, but 20% of your mental RAM is allocated to suppressing guilt over pending household tasks. The fortune being lost isn't magic. It is your cognitive capacity draining away down the sewer of neglect. You are biologically exhausted before you even start working, drained by the environment that should be recharging you. Think also about the mirror's position and the lighting. If your mirror reflects chaos, or if the light is so dim you barely see yourself, you are sabotaging your self-image. The human brain operates by association. If every morning the image you have of yourself is shadowy, surrounded by sacred objects mixed with filth, the blasphemy of the original text, you create a hierarchical confusion in your mind. You place the sacred, your potential, on the same level as the profane, waste. The bias here is negative hedonic adaptation. You have adapted so much to malfunction that it has become your normal. And when chaos becomes your normal at home, mediocrity becomes your normal in life. You cannot see the gravity of the situation because you are immersed in it. The hidden context is this: you are waiting for your life to change so you can fix your environment. But neuroscience proves you need to fix the environment to change your brain chemistry and consequently, your life. Your inaction isn't a choice. It is a biological reaction to an environment that tells you 24 hours a day, it's not worth the effort. You are trapped in a negative feedback cage that you locked yourself, and the key is in your pocket, but you are too busy looking at the horizon to notice what is under your feet. If you thought this conversation was about interior design or feng shui, you missed the point. We are talking about survival. The cost of maintaining your environment in this state of controlled neglect is not just aesthetic, it is biological. And the bill has already arrived. You just haven't had the courage to open the envelope. The ancient text that inspired our analysis spoke about not leaving dirty clothes hanging for days because it would attract sickness and entities. Let's lift the veil of mysticism and look at the naked truth. Stagnation. In nature, still water rots. It becomes a swamp. In your home, that pile of clothes or the damp towel sitting in the same spot for days is the physical symbol of your stagnant life. You have created an ecosystem of interruption. Attention neuroscience shows that our brain scans the environment hundreds of times a day, looking for threats or novelty. When your radar constantly hits the same visual pendencies, the full basket, the empty bottle, the dirty corner, it triggers microdoses of cortisol. You are literally slowly poisoning yourself with the stress hormone inside your own fortress. And here is the alarming discovery. The environment always beats willpower. You can wake up motivated, listen to the most inspiring podcast, drink the strongest coffee. But if, upon entering the bathroom, your retina captures disorder, your motivation suffers an instant battery drain. Your willpower is a finite resource. You are spending 30% or 40% of that energy just to tolerate the chaos around you, suppressing visual discomfort. Very little is left to build the career of your dreams or have patience with your family. The myth spoke of the bathroom door being visible from the bed, bringing illness. The reality is that a lack of visual boundaries creates a state of subconscious hypervigilance. Your reptilian brain doesn't relax if it perceives an opening to a place of waste and humidity near where you sleep. The result? Your sleep isn't restorative. You wake up tired, and those who wake up tired make bad decisions. Those who make bad decisions lose money, lose health, and lose time. It is a domino effect that starts at the open bathroom door and ends in your emotional bankruptcy. But the most frightening part is the impact on your self-identity. There is a concept in psychology called self-perception theory. We infer who we are by observing our own behavior. If you observe day after day that you are the type of person who coexists peacefully with filth and the makeshift, you internalize the identity of the procrastinator, the slob. You stop being someone organized going through a rough patch and become a messy person. It is an ontological shift. You merge with the chaos. And once you accept this identity, the game is over. Your brain will sabotage any attempt at professional success because it understands that success is incongruent with the person who lives in trash. The tragedy isn't that you don't know what to do. The tragedy is that you have become so accustomed to the smell of stagnation that you don't even smell it anymore. You think you are just busy, but in truth, you are decomposing. Entropy is winning the war, inch by inch, tile by tile. And if there isn't a radical intervention now, this pattern will swallow the rest of your ambition. Now we are in the eye of the storm. You understand the mechanism, you understand the biology, but you still feel a brutal resistance. Why, knowing all this, do you still feel that immense weight when thinking about cleaning the drain or folding the towels? Here enters the final battle, and the samurai had a name for what you lack. It isn't time, it isn't cleaning products. What you lack is zansshin. Zansshin means lingering mind or remaining attention. In martial arts, it is the state of total alertness that is maintained after the strike. The warrior doesn't sheathe the sword casually after cutting. He maintains posture, vigilance, until the movement is truly complete. You, in your modern and accelerated life, live the opposite of this. You live in, hit, and run. You use the bathroom, wash your hands, poorly, and run to the next stimulus, leaving behind the crooked towel, the wet sink, and the open lid. You treat the maintenance moments of life as obstacles between you and your success. And that is the lie that is killing your progress. The original text spoke about the danger of mirrors reflecting the toilet. Let's elevate this. The problem isn't the optical reflection, it is the attentional focus. Where you place your attention, energy flows. If your environment forces you to constantly look at the place of waste, at the dirt, at the trash, your mind tunes into that frequency. You lose nobility. In the Zen tradition, cleaning the bathroom is a sacred practice called samu, manual labor as meditation. In monasteries, the most enlightened monks are often the ones cleaning the latrines. Why? Because they understand there is no hierarchy in excellence. Cleaning external dirt is the only way to clean internal dirt, keger. But you, in your intellectual arrogance, think this is menial work. You think you are too important to scrub tiles, and it is exactly this arrogance that prevents you from growing. You want the glory of the emperor, but you lack the humility of the monk, and without the foundation, the castle falls. The escalation of the problem peaks when your house becomes an anti-dojo. A dojo is a place of training, respect, and impeccable order. Your house has turned into a place of permissiveness. The water, leaking and washing away fortune, according to the ancients, is actually your key, vital energy, dissipating due to a lack of containment. A leaking bucket holds no water, no matter how much you try to fill it with new courses, books, and projects. The internal conflict you feel now, this mix of guilt, shame, and desire for change, is your higher self screaming. It knows you cannot build a Class A life on top of Class Z habits. The disconnect has become unsustainable. You are trying to run a marathon with a stone in your shoe. Can you run? Yes. But it will hurt, it will be slow, and eventually you will stop. The stone is your environment, and the only way to continue is to stop running, crouch down, and remove the stone. It isn't a waste of time. It is the only way to walk again. The pain you feel isn't the end. It is the signal that the anesthesia has worn off. Now, we need to heal the wound. We need a protocol, not a cleanup, but a ritual. So, what is the solution? Hire a cleaner to solve the problem for you? Absolutely not. That would be outsourcing your own salvation. The act of restoring order to your environment is not a logistical task, it is a therapeutic ritual. You need to feel the physical resistance of the dirt and defeat it so your brain registers the victory. Starting today, you will institute the temple protocol. Forget the idea of weekly cleaning. What I propose is micro-maintenance based on zansshin. The rule is simple. Never leave a room without leaving it better than you found it. First, attack the leaks. That dripping faucet you've ignored for months. Fix it this weekend. Not because you want to save on the water bill, but because you need to stop the hemorrhage of your integrity. As you turn the screwdriver, tell yourself, I am taking back control. It is a powerful symbolic act. You are closing the open tabs of your mind. Second, clear the visual field. Your bathroom is not a warehouse. Remove everything you don't use daily. Throw away empty bottles, expired samples, visual garbage. Create empty space. When you open space in the physical, your prefrontal cortex breathes. Anxiety decreases because there is less data to process. Keep the counter clean. A samurai doesn't let his sword rust. You shouldn't let your sink get grimy. Third and most important, ritualize the usage. When finishing your shower, reserve 30 seconds, just 30, to dry the floor, align the towel, and close the lid. Do this with intention, with total presence. This small act of completion is the daily training for the discipline you want in business. If you can have consistent discipline in the silence of your bathroom, discipline in the office becomes automatic. Do not underestimate the power of a clean mirror. When you clean it, you are, metaphorically, cleaning the lens through which you view the world and yourself. You remove the fog. You declare to the universe that you are ready to see the truth and that you refuse to accept a self-image distorted by dirt. Kokoro is not about being perfect. It is about being conscious. Eastern wisdom teaches that enlightenment doesn't happen on a distant mountain, but here and now, in chopping wood and carrying water. In your case, in fixing the faucet and cleaning the mirror. Your external life is a merciless reflection of your internal life. Change the reflection, and the image changes. Fix your sanctuary, and your mind will meet the focus you so desperately seek. Wealth, health, and peace are not prizes you win by luck. They are natural consequences of a life where energy flows without obstruction. The challenge is set. Not tomorrow, not when I have time, now. Stand up and go look at your bathroom with new eyes, not with judgment, but with the determination of an architect who is going to renovate his own soul. If you made it this far, if you endured the hard truth and are decided to apply zansshin in your life, prove you are part of the minority that doesn't just consume, but executes. Write in the comments the password, zansshin. I want to see who are the ones ready to clean the mirror and face their true potential. The work begins now. Get to it.